Support community radio. And this is 90.1 KPFT Houston.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. My name is Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. Good morning to the United States of America. Good morning to every nook and cranny in Northeast Texas, Southeast Texas, Northwest Louisiana, Southwest Louisiana, where our signals or 100,000 watt transmitter creeps into those domains. Anyway, folks, as well, welcome to the world. You know, the internet brings the world to us and us to the world. And you know what? We use it. They use it. It's a great thing. We are going to have a great show for you today, folks. I hope you are all in, well, I can't say good spirits, because what we had yesterday was thunderstorms that looked like a hurricane, and it damaged a whole lot of downtown Houston. Glass blown out of skyscrapers. We even had issues with our brother in the studio. Good morning, studio. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Egberto. It's hopefully going to be a better weather day today than it was yesterday. That was a very intense storm that moved through Cypress and Fairbanks and all that 290 area up around the Beltway. Holy cow. I was very, very scared for about 40 minutes while this thing blew through. My sister's house has a tree in it right now. I said, you know, you shouldn't be an arborist and have a tree inside. She sort of hit me on that.
Yeah.
So we were out there putting tarps over the roof because there's a big gaping hole in there. Destroyed a over 100-year-old clock that my grandmother had gotten from her father in probably 1920. So we're going to try to put that thing back together. You know, the other stuff can probably be fixed or replaced, but you know, it's those family heirlooms that are passed down from generation to generation to survive this to be destroyed. It's just a real shame. And our neighborhood suffered pretty good sized damage. All the lights are out on the northwest side coming in. There are great stretches where there's no electricity. All the businesses were dark. So it's going to be a recovery day for us out there. And fortunately for Jack, that thing had blown itself out by the time it got to Seabrook.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. It's
Wow.
just about some hard rain for a little while, and I just went to sleep. It didn't bother me.
Well, you know what is interesting? I saw some of those high voltage transmission lines that are coming in from the west, northwest, knocked out, knocked down. That was just sort of mind blowing.
Yes, those things are
Darn.
those things are meant to withstand 100-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah.
So there had to be some type of tornado or some supercell move through that really caused a lot of damage. And it's the same on 290 too, right around 43rd and Antoine. That whole corridor where they've got those high tension leads.
Right.
A lot of those towers are down, so it's going to be a while before electricity comes back in some areas. Fortunately, I woke up to electricity this morning and thought, well, okay, let's make some coffee with this stuff while the lights stay on.
While it's still there.
Give me some fiend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Jack, what you got for us today?
Well, good morning, Egberto. How are
Good morning, Jack. I'm doing great. Talk to me, my brother.
you? This is about how government shields the corporation. Corporate needs government to protect it. Big oil, big pharma, predatory healthcare, ICS insurance companies. The military-industrial complex need a government to shield them from liability for the devious, deceptive, dishonest things they do to extract resources, like war, sending young men to kill or be killed with the innocent standing between them, while the corporate elites dream and lust over the profits to come.
Yeah, I've often wanted to say to the military folks, the kids going in, do you really know what you're fighting for? It's not our freedom. It's the freedom for big corporations and lawyers to steal from you. So I don't want to really quash our military because our military is a fine organization, but really it's being misused seriously. We have our interim general manager online here this morning. Sandy, are you there?
I believe I am there.
You get
Yes, I'm
You
here.
believe?
I pinch myself to make sure. Yeah, we had the gray-green sky out here, and that burst of winds, and it knocked over a tree in the back parking lot at KPFT, the one tree that we had. So it's going to be cut into pieces today. It was what are those called? The Chinese tallow trees?
It's
Is that what that
garbage
was?
tree.
Yeah, whatever it was made a lot of mess on the ground at least twice a year. Don't ask me why twice, but it would happen. And that tree fell over. Fortunately, there was no other visible damage we know of to the studio, and everybody is safe. And when a tree goes through your house and you mark yourself okay, that's a good thing. A tree is going through our finances right now. The winds are blowing. We're in the middle of fund drive. We stand at $61,297, trying to get to $150,000. We have, a week and a couple of days left to make it. And with the good help of the people listening, we shall make it and continue to operate without interruption or the inability to pay our bills past through the summer with your generosity today. What we're trying to do, folks, is convince you that this is radio, this is media worth supporting as it has been for 54 plus years. I'm going to hand it over to Egberto here in a second, but before I do, I'm going to tell you this. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. Be the first one today on a day where the skies will hopefully be a little bit friendlier to everybody. On the 17th of May, be the first to donate. 713-526-5738, option 1, or kpft.org. If you listen to Arnie Arneson, you do that every morning. Maybe you listen to the show Friday at noon when we rerun it. Please support 713-526-5738. If you like politics done right, the same. Please, back to you.
Anyway, folks, we are going to have a great show. Thank you, Jack, for that. And as usual, I love to tee off of what Jack starts with. And also want to add in something important that Howard mentioned. When you hear the complaints that we have on this program, it is not against rank and file folk. In other words, when Jack speaks about the military, hey, that's our families out there that are fighting these wars, that are going out and doing the things militaries do. When we speak about the corporations, we're not talking about the millions of people who get their sustenance, their wages from corporations. We're speaking about the executives who are pulling the strings, and many a times at the harm of many of these employees, whether they be the janitors or the managers that make things happen. So that's not who we are. So I've had emails with folks saying you're always attacking the corporation. Don't you know we are a capitalist country? We are attacking none of that. We are attacking what the folks that run these systems do and the result that come of it. And the result that come of it is what we're living through right now, the income inequality. And okay, that's a lot of times that's a fancy word that folks exactly what's look. The fact that when you need to go to see a doctor, the first thing you think about is not that you're sick, but how am I going to pay for this? Or is this going to cost too much that bankrupts me? Or is this going to prevent me from being able to go on a vacation? Is this going to prevent me from being able to send my kid to college? Those are real things. And they don't happen in a vacuum. They don't happen in every country in the world. They happen in ours because of everything you hear Brother Jack, Brother Reynolds, myself, and others talk about. And why we talk about it is not just to complain, but to tell folks you are not impotent to do something about it. And what we hope to do in these programs as we speak to everybody, as we listen to everybody, is to say we can make a difference. You're already empowered to do so. As Howard would say, vote, vote the bombs out. And we can do that. And the thing about it is identifying who the bombs are. And we hope to assist in giving you some information that you can assess on your own who the villains are and who are the people that best have your interests at hand. So when Jack speaks about the criminality of war and how war is pushed, not, I mean, just to again, as another source of income, we have attempted to capitalize on everything from healthcare. How can we make more money on healthcare? People look at Obamacare as a big boon, and yes, it was. Obamacare saved a lot of people, including myself, in being able to get procedures that in the past would not be covered, etc. But at what price? You see all those emergency rooms and that stuff emerging around the corner in strip marts. You see all those clinics. You see all the places that are starting to advertise. We don't need doctors. We need uh, physician assistants or and by the way, physician assistants are very important, and nurse practitioners. All these people are important, but not in lieu of the education that doctors get, etc. And what we have is our health system being controlled by financial interests, our living situations, rents, etc., homes being capitalized in such a fashion that we, the small people, we, the rank and file Americans, can't buy an affordable home, can't get affordable health care, can't get affordable care for our kids because we want all of that in the private domain. And every time we try to pass a program that assists the average American family that says, hey, let's subsidize healthcare. Hey, let's subsidize childcare. Hey, let's subsidize if the private sector is unable to give all these things at a cost everybody can afford without affecting their financial futures, let's do it. Then they teach you to believe that's socialism. And don't forget what Cuba looks like, and don't forget what Venezuela looks like. Of course, we never tell you that we cripple Cuba and we cripple Venezuela, and not that we would want to have the same economic system as these places, but they have a right to have their own, and we should not cripple them for doing so. You know, we have to stop allowing a plutocracy with an interest to ever grow at a higher rate than anybody else, which means they're taking money continuously out of our pockets, our well being, our wealth. We have to be able to be cognizant of these issues, vote, do something about it. I can tell you, I've put a whole lot of politicians, local and otherwise, that we've spoke to and interviewed, and it was great because when you see them win and then go out there and really work for the people, you say, "Wow, the fourth estate, the media that really isn't sold to any party or anyone, goes out there, gave folks a platform, and then you see them win because the people see them as the better option." Folks, we got to get busy. Anyway, that was that rant was directly the responsibility of Brother Jack. Now let's get into what the program is supposed to be about. Consumers win as SCOTUS rejects, Supreme Court of the United States rejects attack on the CFPB. That's a consumer. You know, I forget what it all stands for, but it starts with consumer and it ends with bureau. Anyway, Protection Bureau. That's what it is. That's what it is. All right. And great inflation, wage news, and economic reporting. I have a video to show, but I probably, because we have to do some pitching, I probably can't do that right now. So before I get started with the consumer protection part first, I want to remind everybody that we are in Fund Drive, and in as much as we're in Fund Drive, we still make sure to give you a complete show, whether we do it all on air or we send you and say, hey, the rest of it is at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Okay? So, and by the way, from a legal standpoint, I am supposed to have a little notion going forward to say that Politics Done Right is uh, underwritten by Politics Done Right, who publishes XYZ. I'll get the right format correct. You know, lawyers get involved and tell you what you have to do, etc. at some other time, but it's there. I just said the part that needs to be said. All right, folks. Anyhow, we are in Fund Drive right now, and we need your support. I don't like doing this. Sandy doesn't like doing this. Jack Howard doesn't like doing this. But we have to keep that 100,000 watt transmitter going, to keep that
Jack
internet up.
does.
Oh, Jack.
Jack said he said he likes Fun Drive. He gets to
Okay.
talk more.
Okay.
Here. Hey.
Okay, Jack. Well, I don't like fun drives because there's so much more that I want to go out there and say. But anyhow, the fact is this, right? We can't stay alive without you. And I want to ask you, as I'm pitching right now, before I get into the CFPB, I want to ask you to call now 713-526-5738 and hit number one and give us a coffee a month or give us whatever you can. Whatever you can. Or you're a first time listener or a new listener or a listener who've been listening for a while but never said, let me go ahead and give these guys a few pennies. Please consider doing that if you have the wherewithal. If you have the wherewithal to do so, if you can afford to do so, if you can afford to give us a coffee a month, $5 a month or $10 a month. I'm a $10 a month supporter of KPFT via Politics Done Right. Plus, I do spend a whole lot of time doing the show, preparing for the show the night before, and of course, getting up in the mornings to do the show. But I'm asking you to please support us right now. I'm going to be pitching for a couple minutes. I'm going to drop back to Sandy, and then I'm going to do the CFPB. So again, please go ahead and call 713-526-5738, extension number one. And we have a lot of different options that you can do. You can do we're trying to build on sustainers right now. Sustainers say the following: I am going to give a small amount of money every month to KPFT. And in doing so, eventually, if we get enough people doing that, that amounts to about 50 something $1,000 a month. Guess what we can do? We can forego having these fund drives because we're sustained by a steady flow of membership. We are likely to still have one or one and a half or so because you have to take care of attrition and that sort of stuff or improvements in the station, etc. But these long fund drives would be history. And we have to give kudos to Brother Sandy, our general manager, who has really built up. We are slowly building this bridge of people giving monthly and owning and taking ownership of this station and saying, yes, we are absolutely making sure it will be there. So give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number one, and give whatever you can, but we're asking for those sustainers if you can. $5 a month, $10 a month, $15 a month. Yesterday I saw a couple of $50 a month came through. I just kind of like, wow. And I saw a few $25 a month. I was like, yay. But we had quite a few of the $10 a month. But we need you to step up for the station. You know what, that we do good work and we're hard working volunteers to give the information. You can get my t-shirt, Politics Done Right t-shirt at $120 one-time contribution. Notice you don't have to pay all of this at once. Most importantly, you can go to kpft.org. kpft.org. You can hit the donate button, select that you're donating in the name of Politics Done Right. It doesn't come to me, it all goes to the station in the name of Politics Done Right. and give whatever you can. I would love to see people who are well off say, hey, I can give $1,000 and just do that. Hey, I'm well off. I can give $500 and just do it, and say, knowing that, it is our stewardship of your money to do good is there. I promise you that. The stewardship, if you go to our studios, you see how frugal we are to give you a whole lot. So again, whatever you can afford, but we're looking for those sustainers. kpft.org. You can go there, or you can call 713-526-5738. I'd love to be able to thank you on air. As soon as we get back from Sandy, we'll get into the CFPB. Sandy. Okay, I guess Sandy is not here.
Oh, there
Oh,
I am.
okay, there you
Find
go.
myself. No, it's early. It's first cup of coffee is only half gone, so that you get yet. I'll be brief. Just dial that number, folks. Support KPFT. We'd love to hear from you. We have a $300 goal, very modest on this program, and 3 of you taking a Politics Done Right T-shirt or a KPFT T-shirt, or simply just signing up at $10 a month as a sustainer will get us there. The more sustainers we get down the road, the fewer days we'll be doing this. But this is necessary. 54 years, long time, commercial free. So many people have made it possible for you to hear our voices this morning. 54 years worth. Be the next in line to help out and keep community radio in Houston. 713-526-5738. Egberto.
Thank you very much, Sandy. Okay, CFPB. Consumers win as Supreme Court rejects radical attack on the CFPB. And let me tell you, I was shocked. I just knew this Supreme Court that we had now would rule against it. Now, this is one of those technical areas that most Americans that are living their daily lives think they don't need to know, generally don't know about it, but it's an absolute necessity. You see, if you overdraft your checking account, you actually, sometimes banks would want to charge you 30, 40, $50 for that overdraft. If you are late on a payment or they missed getting a payment from you for some reason, the mail was late or whatever, they zap you with a $40 or $50 credit card fee. There are times that they want to charge you any interest rate they can for a loan that they give you. Those people called the payday loan people, those people who advertise a hell of a lot on TV about how you can just get a payday loan, bring your check in, you get your stub in, and we'll give you a loan. And a lot of those interest rates are ridiculously high. Regular credit cards are 18 to 24%. These other credit cards are ridiculously high. Now, they need regulations. That's unfettered capitalism in a place where credit is king of our country. It's a service provided by the private sector. Let me tell you, the type of person I am, right? The beliefs that I have in separating certain things from government and the private sector. I have a rule of thumb. If it hurts a lot of people, if it can hurt a lot of people, and people must have it, I don't believe it should be in the private sector. I think it should be in the public sector. If it's something where people have a choice, I believe it should be the private sector. I'll give you a good example. If you want to buy a pizza, if you want to go to the grocery store where you have choices of all these different things, right? That belongs in the private sector. Why? Because you have choices. You have choices to either take it or not take it at all. But if you get sick, if you have a healthcare problem, you're, as a society, and what society means is us getting together for the better good. Something like healthcare, there should be a basic. I'm not saying if you want to have petals and roses on your bed when you go to the hospital, you should be able to. If an insurance want to create a policy that gives you that if you get sick, so be it. You can pay for that policy and you can have private insurance for that kind of service. But a country like most countries in the developed world should have public health care that everybody has access to, public, clean, competent health care. That doesn't belong in the private sector. Now, if you want petals and roses, yeah. But regular health care doesn't belong in the private sector. And the same goes with energy. There's a lot of research. I worked in the energy sector for a few years, not a long time, but for a few years. I developed software and all that kind of stuff so I know the innovation that goes on in the energy sector, etc. But again, there are certain parts of the energy sector that doesn't belong in the private sector, and there's nobody should start singing about, oh, that's communist or whatever the case, because the truth of the matter is, no, all that oil in the ground, all those uraniums in the rocks, none of these private companies put it there. So we have a part of this place called the United States of America, and the United States of America is mineral free. Yeah, we should compensate those who are willing to mine the mineral. But after those people mine the mineral and are paid for the mineral and make a profit on the mineral, it should mean that forevermore they can control the prices of those minerals that we should all own, and also hold us hostage to it like they did right after the pandemic. It is unfair, and the only reason it is legal is because the people that we put in power makes it so. Remember, things are only legal because the people we put in power makes it legal, which means we can make other things legal and we can make certain things illegal if we put people in power who do so. So the power that we have is something that we need to be very cognizant of. But anyway, consumers win. So these lobbyists from the payday loan people who abuse the people that least can afford to. Imagine that, right? The people who need payday loans are generally poor people, people that can't make it from one month to the other. So they start with payday loans, not for emergencies, but some of them start to use payday loan as a new source of income, which means they forever increase their debt more and more and more. And increasingly, because these are predatory loan rates that people get charged with payday loans, they never get out from under these folks. And these people in the long run then can not only take all that money that they were getting in interest rates, but because eventually you tap out, they take the collateral, they take your car, they take your home, they take all, it's just a racket to abuse those people who least can afford to be abused. So here comes the CFPB, and they said we're going to regulate these industries to make them less predatory. And notice I didn't say to stop them from being predatory, because by definition our economic system is a predatory system. And if you doubt that, just think about every time you get mad at your bank, every time you get mad at the hospital, every time you get mad at anything that you pay that you say, I want to pay, but man, it's unfair how much I'm having to pay. But I got to do it. That's a predatory system. And it's not caused by government, as a lot of people would want you to believe. It is caused by what I call, what did I call it for people who listen to the show? It's called the CPR, the corporate CGR, the corporate greed index, the corporate greed index. Anyhow, so these guys go to the Fifth Circuit Court, and the Fifth Circuit Court says, "Oh yes, you guys are right, payday loans people. We are going to stop the government from regulating you. But how are we going to stop them?" Well, the way the CFPB, this Consumer Protection Agency, the Bureau, was funded is through the Federal Reserve. And what that does is it prevents it from being an arm of the politicians, meaning when one party comes in, they can do this, they can be predatory. When another party comes in, to give it some stability. And it affects your mortgage, it affects everything else. So the Fifth Circuit Court, I think that's the one in Louisiana, went ahead and said, okay, we are with the predatory loan people. And the predatory loan people said, yay, we are going to, they're with us now. We take it to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, by a 7-2 decision, comes down and says, no, you can now fund, that the funding mechanism that Congress set up for the CFPB, which is through the Federal Reserve, could continue. But let me tell you what would have happened if this Supreme Court said the opposite. All the regulations that the CFPB put in, from safeguarding your interest rates on your credit cards, from the protection as far as not being able to charge you as much for overdraft, and all these other issues, all those laws that are passed would have been erased because the institution would have not have been funded legally. And it was shocking to see that Clarence Thomas, one of the biggest thugs on the Supreme Court, actually voted to support that. So I am, in as much as I'm happy for that decision, I am waiting for the next shoe to drop. Because when this new Supreme Court giveth, it then taketh away. I want to see, we are happy, progressives are ecstatic with this decision. And by the way, folks, like I said, it does affect you. You don't hear about this on the TV a whole lot, but it does affect you, and it affects you directly. So the Supreme Court did a good thing for you on this one. Let me go to Harry on line 1. Harry, come on in, my dear brother from another mother. How you doing this morning? Harry, you're on, and I can't hear you. Maybe we are having a little bit of the phone problem, so I'm going to... Harry, are you there? Okay, while we try to get Harry, I'm going to do a quick pitch here. Folks, we are in fund drive mode, and in as much as we're in fund drive mode, as you notice, we are in fact giving you a program. So far, we've touched 2 topics, and we're moving on. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. Again, I repeat, 713-526-5738, extension number 1. As it has been all week, it's half hour into the show, and I have yet to get a call. So please make my day. Please make our day. Please make KPFT day by being the first person to call in so that we can thank you on air with a contribution. And what are the options that you have? We're trying to build right now sustaining memberships. And how do we do this? Asking you to buy us a coffee a month, a couple of coffees a month, etc. Something that you don't feel, but makes a huge difference to us because we can get a hell of a lot of people to give a tiny bit so that we can keep this station on air. 713-526-5738, extension number 1. You can also go to kpft.org. Go ahead and hit the donate button. When you hit that donate button, select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting, and then go ahead and choose from one of our many options that for you. So let's go ahead and bring Brother Harry into our conversation. We get our daily call from Harry. I love to hear from Harry. My brother, talk to me.
I love to hear from you too, Alberto. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Feliz cumpleaños el dentado mañana.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Because our birthdays are tomorrow.
Our birthday's tomorrow. You're right.
Right. And when I'm at Sabbath tomorrow at church, I've already told some of the church members, and I told them, yeah, it's the day before Malcolm X, and they're pleased that my birthday, and I mentioned you that my radio friend on KPFT, we share the same birthdays.
Hey Harry, let me stop you for a second because I want to ping pong off of that. I want to make a terrible plug, but hey folks, Saturday tomorrow is both Brother Harry and my birthday. If you would have taken me for a coffee for birthday and a few more times in a year, could you do that like right now and call 713-526-5738? extension 1 and say, you know what? I am going to do that $5 a month for those guys at KPFT to make sure we can keep that station on air. Could you call 713-526-5738 extension 1 or go to kpft.org and do that? Hey, I would have a happy birthday tomorrow if I know that I made my quota today. Could you help us out? No, actually, seriously though, I would really appreciate if you'll call 713-526-5738, hit extension 1, and give us that support. Harry, come on in. Sorry for interrupting you, sir.
And I hope that happens for you in KPFT. And good morning, Jack. Good morning, Howard. And good morning, Sandy. I hope that all happens for you. Just as I pray that someday KPFT will get a call. They'll talk to Sandy Wyman, as I spoke on this show, I think this week or last week, that a big sponsor will come in, a corporate sponsor will come in and sponsor KPFT. So KPFT has no problem paying its bills as it goes for these shows, because these shows are very important. And as you mentioned there, when you were talking about socialism, Huberto, and I'm glad that the Supreme Court did that as far as the payday loans. Those people are predators to regulate them. I got involved in that stuff at one time, and I had a friend that got involved in that, and that can be a problem because
Yes.
they prey on you and they need to be regulated. And we need to vote out the neoliberal Reagan doctrine type people. As they replayed Arnie Arnison's show this morning from yesterday. She was talking to Steve Prescott, her guest, and Mark Lewis, and people get ticked off when the wealthy, the oligarch, the plutocrats, they get a tax cut, and then less tax revenue comes in, and it doesn't trickle down. It never trickles down to the average American. And then if you voted for these people, then you're wondering why, when they try to destroy the New Deal and take away social programs, as Arnie said, then you're ticked off. Well, then why did you vote for those people? As my friend in Florida, who I can't get to think, I haven't spoken to in weeks, been a friend of mine for a long time, and he's just Trump this and Trump that. And then I hear on the station yesterday that Trump says if he wins, he's going to ban funding for more schooling, for public schools, So
Hey, Harry, I got to cut you short, but I want you to do me a favor. Your friend, give him our email address so we can go ahead and let him get some of the information that we do. I'd love for you to do that, because that is what we're trying to do, build folks into hearing other points of view. Let's run to Brother Johnny, my brother from another mother, and who we call the mayor of Politics Done Right. Brother Johnny, talk to me.
Hola.
Hola.
No. Is that the right terminology in Spanish for happy birthday?
Yes.
For one
Yeah,
No.
that's good. Hey, that's good enough for government work, man. You got it.
And I'm not even a government worker. Oh, no. Anyway, you brought up the private-public sector earlier, and I was thinking back to my vague memories as a child when we would go to our neighborhood post office in Queens. I don't know. Do you have any vague memories there down in your native country of when you guys would go to the post office? Do you remember seeing people not only buying postage stamps but also cashing their paychecks?
No, because I think our banking sector is a bit different than the United States, right? But here's the interesting thing. I know exactly where you're going. You're going to something called public banking, and since the post office already has real estate in every community and is very easily accessible, doesn't it make a lot of sense to use that for dual purposes? I mean, you nailed it, Johnny.
Yeah. You know what else I'd like to nail? I'd like to nail Mitt Romney to a cross.
Don't say that.
I did the next best thing I could do from my remote location in Lamarck. I called 202, area code 202-224-5251, 224-5251, and his voice message machine actually works, unlike some Democrats like the guy with the crew cut, Joe Manchin. Anyway, so I left a message and messages, actually, several messages that lasted about a half hour. And I dumped on him when I heard the soundbite of him saying that we should urge
Pardon.
Joe Biden to
Yeah.
pardon Donald Trump. And I went back to Richard Nixon getting pardoned by Gerald Ford and all those other things. So, yeah. Let's dump on Mitt Romney. Let him know that he's an oligarch and it's too close to home for him, and that's why he's wanting us to forgive Donald Trump, because he recognizes his own criminality when he was a hedge fund king, stealing people's retirement monies and selling factory equipment across the ocean in order to move factories over there to exploit cheap labor. That's
We have
part of his money.
For those who don't remember, he was, I think, a director of Bain's Capital. And Bain's Capital is one of those companies that emptied out, people don't understand what these folks do. Corporations are its own person. There are financial institutions that go into corporations and they go ahead and empty them out. In other words, this is what they did to Toys R Us. Toys R Us was a very profitable company. Very profitable company. We got venture capitalists from these I call them vulture capitalists, but I was told not to call them vulture capitalists. I can't remember what Jack wanted me to call them. Jack, what did you want me to call them? Not vulture capitalists, but something else.
Vampire capitalism.
Vampire capitalism. That's Jack's terminology. And what they do is they go into these companies, load them up with debt, extract the capital that's debt, right? In other words, you go in there, you go ahead and put debt on the company, you remove the capital from the company as dividends and payoffs to the shareholders, etc. That company is left with debt and then it dies, right? The people with the employees lose out, their pension, everything is gone. It is one of the most legal forms of theft in our country. But these guys get rewarded for doing it. They get rewarded for doing it. So, so Johnny, I got to go do a little bit of pitch. So, give me a short one before I let you go.
Yeah, that's what Mitt Romney's buddy, college buddy. I think he was college buddies with Steve Munchkin. Steve Munchkin did that to Sears.
Munchin, yeah.
They want to privatize everything that's not nailed down. Even
But
things
here's-
that are nailed down, like the roads and the
They
postal
even did it.
service.
They did it in a. They did it in a reverse manner. Sorry for talking on top of you. We had a slight delay. They even did that with the U.S. Postal Service. I'm going to throw this to Sandy in a minute, but I want to tell you something about U.S. Postal Service. People like to complain about the U.S. Postal Service, right? But they're the only service, and it's a quasi-governmental service. They're the only service that can get you a letter from point A to any point in this United States for under $1. Think about this. Any part of this United States is accessible by your United States Post Office for under $1. All the private freight companies want to kill the U.S. Post Office because they see a lucrative market that they can always charge more than $1 for delivering your mail. So what have we done? We've got Joy to cripple the service, to stop the efficiency of one-day service that is still under $1 to get regular mail there. They try their best. They even force, unlike every corporation, they force the post office to put away, I think it was 10 years or more, money for the people's pension away. They don't ask private companies to do that. And then that artificially shows the post office as being running with a huge deficit. And then they figure that will allow us to cripple it. It's amazing what they do. But I want everybody to...
A bunch of Republicans in the dead of night required $5 billion every year for a decade for the make-believe plan of having enough money for health care retirement benefits for people not even born yet who would be postal office employees. Trust me, that money, that guy, Luce DeJoy, he's salivating over that money. He thinks that's his money. He belongs in prison. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Johnny. I appreciate you. And folks, that stuff about the post office, I didn't intend to talk about that today, but it's an important thing because people go to the post office and they say the people are rude and all of that. Hey, people are rude at FedEx, people are rude at UPS. At my post office here, the people are very nice. And one of the reasons I think they're very nice is as soon as I walk up to the counter, I don't walk up with a face ready to fight them. I walk up with a face, how are you doing? And I ask them how they're doing, how are their kids, that sort of stuff. And we have a conversation and we get good service. People don't understand that it goes both ways, right? You go into a post office, a lot of people I see standing up in line at the post office, they're stamping and because they're pissed because they're in a line and they're rude. Look, these people are good people just as anybody else, and they get a good job done. I'm coming to you, Brian, but let me go to Sandy and then for a quick pitch, and then I'll be with you. Sandy.
Thank you,
Okay.
Egberto.
Yes, sir.
I'm chasing the mice around the desk. You know how it goes.
Yes,
Hey,
I know.
folks, we're in Fun Drive. It's 45 minutes into this program. We haven't seen a pledge yet this morning. Please do be the first. Maybe it's because we haven't told you that for a $120 pledge, you can get a 32-ounce stainless steel tumbler with a KPFT logo on it. This will keep your hot drinks hot, your cold drinks cold, and yes, it does have the internal straw feature. Now, that's one of our thank you gifts. In fact, if you want that tumbler and you have another $20 bill to throw in, we'll throw in a 1-pound bag of Caroline Street coffee beans. Ask for the Caroline Street coffee combo. That's the KPFT tumbler and the bag of coffee beans. That's a $140 donation. Politics Done Right t-shirt, a $100 donation. Do what you can, be as generous as you can, and come on board as a sustainer. The $5 or the $10 a month. Do $10 a month, get the tumbler, and your pledge will be matched if you come on as a sustainer with 58 more dollars. It will propel us to our $300 goal that much faster. So far toward our $300 goal, all we have left to bridge is $300. So please be the first to donate this morning. The clouds hopefully will move out of here. We'll have a nice day. I haven't looked at the weather forecast, didn't check the weather chart this morning, but come on. We're getting down toward the back half of our fund drive, and we're not quite halfway to our goal. In fact, we're $13,103 away from halfway. So let's put a dent in that gap this morning, one call at a time. 713-526-5738. Independent radio, independent media, where we can have these kind of conversations. It doesn't exist. It's commercially driven. Those commercial sponsors will push content one way or another, or they just won't fund that particular entity. And when they don't do that, well, then the management, the corporate management, and these stations are not owned locally. They're, for the most part, national or even international corporations that own the media. We need you to fund community media, your friends and neighbors behind the microphone, independent, capable of having this kind of conversation. 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, option 1, or go to kpft.org and click donate. Come on now, be the first today to donate. Looking for you here, and want to thank you very badly for your contribution. Egberto.
Thank you so kindly, Sandy. Brian, come on in, my dear brother from another mother.
Yeah, you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, power's out, so don't feel too bad if nobody's calling in to make donations. But I'm pretty sure the cell phone will still work, so you should get somebody to say something to help you along. I'm about to hit a duck.
All right. Look, don't hit it. Don't hit it. Brian, thank you. Anything you want to add before we go to Rick?
Yeah, FDR took us off the gold standard, and he also stopped people from cashing checks at the post office. You can check into that if you want to.
Oh, I didn't know that. FDR stopped the people from cashing checks at the post office? I didn't know that.
Check into that. I'm almost positive.
I'll look into that.
Okay. Y'all have a good weekend. I'll call back in Monday.
Thank you very much, Brian. You have a wonderful day. Let's go to Rick. Come on in, Rick.
Hello, Edberto.
Talk to me, my brother. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. I heard a while back that the post office is required to pay 75 years worth of pension ahead of time. And that was
Yes.
ordered by Congress. And it's just a way to try to destroy the Postal Service.
That's exactly what happened, sir. Let me tell you, like I said, the post office is the only entity, because it's not for profit. All the monies that come in goes into creating innovation to make it a better delivery service. And actually, it is great. Let me tell you how good the Postal Service is, even though nobody gives them praises, right? FedEx, UPS, and all of them use the system, the zip code system, to deliver. Number two, FedEx and UPS, for places that they can't get to, guess who delivers their mail? The USPS, the United States Postal Service, delivers the mails where UPS finds it not profitable for them to do it. So if you live in Timbuktu and you get packages, many times you don't. A UPS package comes the last mile via the Postal Service. The Postal Service is the only ones that can. Go ahead, Rick.
I think I can't understand why Joe Biden has not fired Ray LaJoy. He is in the private postal business already, and he wants to kill the Postal Service so he can make more money.
There's a reason why he can't fire him. That is because the president doesn't have the authority to fire him. The president has the authority to appoint governors. Yeah. And now there is, I think the last governor for appointment is there, and that's how we can get rid of the Joy. So I don't know if he was chimed in yet or not, if they allowed the vote on him yet or not. But the president can't directly fire the post general.
Okay, thanks for letting us know that too, because something definitely needs to happen there.
Absolutely. But let me tell you, you see a postal employee or whatever, you praise those folks and give them a smile. That's hard work. It's hard work fighting dogs. It's hard.
We have a great post office lady, and we thank her every time we see her.
Absolutely. They do a lot more than their pay justifies. I tell you that. And but a lot of us, because many of us are spoiled at times. We just want them to do X, Y, Z, and But again, that is one of the best services we have in the country. Thank you so kindly, Brother Rick.
Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
You too. Let's jump back to Johnny. Johnny must forgot to have told me something. Johnny, come on in real quick.
Yeah, that wasn't because of FDR. I was born in 1959, and I was like 8, 9, 10 years old when the post office suddenly was not allowed to cash paychecks for people and have banking services for them. They even had a simple bank account. That stopped because the banking industry didn't like the competition, and they got their friends in the Republican controlled legislature to say, "Nuh-uh, no more of that." Just like when the post office was getting ready to electrify their fleet.
Right.
Years ago, they do that, and the petrochemical industry didn't want that. So guess what? The Republicans said, "Nuh-uh, no way."
Hey,
we've got large
Johnny, for intellectual honesty, I want to say one thing when it comes to the financial sector and other sectors that Congress appeases. It's not just Republicans. It is Republicans and neoliberal Democrats. We are going to be intellectually honest here, because what we need to elect is good progressives that believe in people. I'll be honest with you, people, if there is a progressive Republican, a real progressive Republican, running against a neoliberal Democrat, that progressive Republican have got my vote. The problem is that right now you ain't got any. But there used to be the people who passed the civil rights bill, etc. Those were Republicans. So let's I just want to make sure. Right now we are in a time where the polarization has really separated the parties in a very ideological domain, but it never always used to be that way, nor does it need to stay that way. Just want to say that, Brother John. Hey, Johnny, anything else? I got to go pitch.
Being so honest, the post office, when it was required to set that money aside every year, that was accomplished by Republicans, and they had the help of one or two centrist Democrats.
There you go.
In name only.
Thank you, brother. All right, Johnny, I got to go pitch. Folks, we still gave you a show. We still gave you new information, and I learned something today. So, I mean, folks, give us a call, 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Look, I am at 6:55. I don't know if are we extending, Sandy? Let me
Yes.
see.
So
Yes.
a few more minutes to try to convince people that they have this radio station in their own hands. You know, it's your radio station for those of you listening. It's community radio. It's not commercial radio. It's not national public radio. It's community radio. And that means that we have people like Egberto live in the area. Egberto lives north of town. I live south of town. Howard lives northwest of town. We live here. And these are the people that come in and get behind the mic or power the station and make sure it's there for you. It's not sent in. We're here in the community. We want those conversations about Houston. What's happening here? What are your concerns here? You have access by calling up every day. And this costs $52,000 a month. So every minute that goes by where we're not receiving funding during this critical May fund drive is something that we're just going to have to deal with down the road. And I don't know exactly what that means because, frankly, we haven't been in that situation yet. And I don't want to get there. Folks, please break the ice. One of you call up, do a $5 a month pledge, do a $25, $35 a month, $35 pledge. Just a single pledge to get us going off the schneid and toward our $300 goal. It's 3 minutes to the hour, and we'd love to hear from you. It's KPFT Houston. Go ahead, Egberto.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sandy. Folks, again, let me use my birthday plug because Harry opened the door. My birthday's tomorrow, and I know. Hey, I know you don't hate me. So could you say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and support that crazy, funny sounding dude at KPFT that loves to talk real stuff, and call 713-526-5738, extension number 1. As Sandy said, we're trying to get sustainers. So if you can do $5 a month, for most of you, you won't feel that. For most of you, you won't feel that. If you enjoy what we're doing here, if you like what you're doing here, what we're doing here, if you want us to continue what we're doing here, the way to show that is to say, I can put a little bit of skin in the game and help these folks. So all of us have skin in the game here. Like I mentioned, the reason I say that is I'm producing this show, and at the same time, being a supporter of I've been a supporter of the station before I got the opportunity to be on air. I worked my way up from just being at the station, taking donations, to being at the station, engineering for somebody else, for being at the station and being offered a spot on air, for which I'm very, very, very honored. But it's something that you have to earn to keep, and that means support from all of you who want this particular programming to remain. So I ask you kindly to call 713-526-5738, extension 1, or give us a call or go to kpft.org, hit that donate button. And after hitting that donate button, select Politics Done Right as a program, whatever amount you want to give, and we are in business. But I want to thank somebody before I leave. Sandy is extending us for a few minutes, so you still have the time. We talked 4 subjects today already, right? We talked the post office, we talked the CFPB, we talked about the initial issue of corporations army that was brought up by Brother Jack, and I can't recall the other subject that we spoke about. So in as much as we're in fund drive, we spoke about some very distinct banking. We talk about very distinct issues, even as we're pitching for money to keep the station up. So I think I've been holding up my side of the bargain by telling you I still want you to chime in, not because we're in Fund Drive. You say, they're in Fund Drive. I don't have time to listen to them pitch for money right now. We still interspace with all of this. We make sure to give you a program where you can digest some of the stuff that we talk about. So I continue to ask kindly to give us a call at 713-526-5738, extension number 1 to donate. Folks, you have cable, I'm sure. You have, I bet, you're paying $100 or more, $200 for cable. And you don't think twice about it because you want to see your MSNBC, CNN, HBO, all that sort of stuff. And you give that. But that is unidirectional, one directional, right? They're giving you stuff that you have to take. This station, as you can see, all the folks call in, and you have a platform. Whether you agree with me or not, it's not the issue. This program here makes sure that everybody who calls in gets their platform because it's your program. And the interesting thing is, whether you're a donor to the station or not, you get access. This is your station. But to keep this going, we do need your support. And right now we're still at zero. I know many of you right now are going to give or thinking about giving, have considered giving, but you're not, I don't want to take that extra effort to pick up the phone and dial. I'm lying here listening to the radio. I'm in my car listening to the radio or whatever. I ask you to make that extra motion, that extra sacrifice, and give us a call. Look, it is money well spent. And not only is it money well spent, but you will feel good about it. When you know that you're an integral part of this 100,000 watt transmitter that is getting good information, good data, good music, good all these things to people who otherwise would not have had it. When you talk about why can't we make a difference in our politics, I'm in the political sector now. I'm not talking about, we have great eclectic music that other people won't play, but also in the politics that we talk about here, and in the news and the opinions that we give here. We provide what many don't. We believe in people. So I ask again, I am still at zero. I know we can do better than this. Please call 713-526-5738, extension number 1, and donate whatever you can. $5 a month, $10 a month. Think about it. You won't feel that, but it makes such a difference for us. And likewise, go to kpft.org and support us. Let's go to Tag. Come on in, Tag.
Good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
Well, just two things real quick. It comes from good sources that Sandy will have a guest host on his show tomorrow.
Yes,
so
he will.
To talk about that a minute. You've heard about that, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you guys should talk about that a minute. And I just read an article about how Judge Alito's wife actually hung a flag, the American flag, outside their home upside down after Biden was sworn in, which I thought was just fascinating.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. Just one day it happened on 11 days after the inauguration. So on January 17th, when Biden come in, yeah, she wasn't very happy about Biden coming in, I guess. And, you know, and they say, well, we can't really hold Alito accountable for what his wife did, just like they're saying they can't hold Ginny Thomas accountable for what she did. They can't hold Clarence Thomas accountable for what Ginny did. So I think it's fascinating that these people can get away with that, and how it bleeds into our politics. So that's really what I wanted to say. And like I said, make Sandy talk about his show tomorrow.
All right, Tag. I know Sandy is going to talk about our good brother that came back to pitch with him. Sandy.
Yeah. Well, tomorrow Deadbeat is on at noon to 3, and I will not be there. I'm flying away. I was told I must. It's a family obligation. And I want to thank Rourke Smith for filling those shoes Saturday, tomorrow, noon. And then after Rourke at 3 o'clock, I think Ronnie and Tom are going to do an extra shift as we continue to sort out what we're going to do with that particular block of time as the late Clay Brasher is no longer with us. And well, just lots of stuff to think about, but Rourke will be there. Yes, Tag. So tune in. And right now, though, please donate. It's 5 after 7, and we're at a goose egg, Egberto. That's
I
not too
know.
good.
I haven't seen this, folks. I know somebody. Hey, it's my birthday. No, but really,
It's his birthday.
yeah,
Throw
713-526.
Bill.
Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, Sandy.
I was going to say, traditionally, when people have birthdays, they slip into the pub and people are buying them drinks. And in some cases, you're pinning those dollar bills to your shirt to show people that you're getting your birthday gift walking around with us. I've seen that a few times. We're in Fund Drive. It's a birthday today for Egberto. So come on, 713-526-5738. Pick up on that tumbler or the coffee that comes with it. Pick up on a rainbow logo T-shirt from KPFT. Beautiful shirt, $120 pledge. We have so many thank you gifts. We have some great concert tickets. You can get a memory brick, $25 a month for the small brick 4x8. On the 8x8, you get twice as much room to write your message that will be put down on that brick and planted in the front courtyard of KPFT. We have a patch of bricks down now, and we're going to be about doubling the size of that area. We're just waiting on a few more of these things to be shipped in. And then the gentleman that did the work initially will be back to create a bigger area of memory bricks. Join in that very special sustaining group of KPFT listeners that can power this radio station ad infinitum. You don't like this fund drive? Shut us up. Give some money. That's the way to do it. When you do that and you do your part, we need to pitch less. We need to be on the air less doing this and taking time away from our regular programming. Something we don't like to do, but we have to do to pay the bills. There's no one else doing it. It's just you and me, folks. That's it. Everybody listening, it's just us. There's no one else. We're not going to get money from the CPB. According to them, we don't qualify. It's tough to attract grant writing or grant money as well. We have people doing grant writing, and every once in a while we'll get a few dollars in. We don't get much in the way of underwriting. I think that the Hot Sauce Festival just was our last group to come on board and underwrite KPFT. If you have a business, you can do it that way as well. 713-526-5738, 713-526-5738, or kpft.org and a click of the donate button. But here we are. We've been on now for 68 minutes, and we have a nada, Egberto.
Oh my God. Folks, think about that. If you're never given before, become a new contributor so that I can thank you on air right now. Call 713-526-5738 extension number 1, or go ahead and go to kpft.org and hit the donate button and select politics and right and how much you want to give, and we'll be ready to thank you on air. We still have a few more minutes, a couple of minutes more that we can stay here before we go into Democracy Now! In Progress, but we need to get some support from you as soon as now. 713-526-5738. I know there are many of you that would be out there ready to give. And it's just like, it's a hassle. I ask you to make that small sacrifice now so that we can continue to build on what we have to have to support the station for the next 3 months. I know you can do it. I know you're willing to do that. I know new callers that have, or rather listeners that have never given. This is your opportunity. Whatever you can, whether it's be a $25 donation, a $40 donation, a $5 a month donation to say, I want to be a sustainer of this station as you guys are asking for to make sure that it's there. But let's go ahead and get started. We really need to get your support. We held our end of the bargain. We said even as we're in fund drive, we're going to interspace a good program with it. And that was the commitment fulfilled. So we ask you now to honor the commitment and support the station. I know there are many people asking and asking and asking. I hate to do it, but that is how we are able to provide this. And you are, yes, those of you who give us support, you are in fact subsidizing knowledge for a hell of a lot of people. Your contribute. You talk about being scared about the politics of today, being scared about what's going to happen in November. And that is because a lot of folks aren't reaching a lot of folks. But you know what we can on this program and other programs like this? We can actually reach those folks. We can actually inform them in ways that the mainstream media is not informing them. We can have them vote their interests, which will be your interest as well. And you are listening to us now, subsidizing us getting that info out to everybody is worth it. And again, we are a little Houston station that has a far reach. Our programming is not just restricted to here in Houston, but it's heard all over the country. So, folks, 713 526 5738 extension 1. Please don't wait and think it's going to be the other person. Please, you be the person. Please, you be the person now and say, I am going to do my part. I'll thank you. By the way, I didn't point out today that, hey, anybody who gives 250 or more, we will go out for coffee, mano a mano, flesh and flesh. We'll go out and sit down and shoot the bull. If you're a hugging type, you'll get my good old Panamanian hug. We'll drink some coffee, sit down, have some whatever it is you want, and chat whatever you want to chat. That's a $250 contribution or more for and that would be a thank you. So again, if I got two of those right now, we'll be in great shape. $250 contribution for the have breakfast with Egberto, have coffee with Egberto. That would be a good thing. But again, $5 a month. $5 a month is worth it. $10 a month which is what I give for this, as well as doing the program. And a lot of us here are doing this, and we ask you to join in. I'm still at 0. I know that call is coming. I know before I get off this air, which is going to be very, very soon, I'm going to have somebody to thank. Please call 713 526 5738, extension number 1, or go ahead and go to kpft.org, hit that donate button in the name of Politics Done Right. Folks, we're going to be having to go to let me see what the studio wants to do right now. Yes, sir.
Hey, I just got a call from Debbie saying that the option 1 line is not working. It'll pick up and go through its spiel, but it ends up dropping you and cutting you out. So there's a little phone trouble with the pledge. So I mean, just letting you know.
Oh, maybe that's what's happening.
Maybe it is. If we had that storm, and who knows, but you can go to kpft.org and click donate, try it that way, or even call the studio, hit option 2, and they can handwrite a pledge. All that's possible. 713-526-5738. Option 1 normally would take you to the donation center. Sometimes they have a hiccup. It happened once last drive. So hit option 2 and see if you can't reach the studio, and they will handwrite your pledge on a pledge form. We'll do it that way.
Absolutely. So, or go to kpft.org and hit donate and make your pledge there. But anyway, Sandy, what we want to do, we want to go ahead and chime into democracy now.
We have about another 5 minutes, and then we'll cut to Democracy Now! So if you'd like to
Gotcha.
continue.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, folks. Okay, so like we promised you, folks, we gave you a program. So we talked about the United States Postal Service, which wasn't on the program, but I always say that this is your show, and because this is your show, you can change the subject. Johnny called, change the subject. Jack spoke, change the subject. Brian called, told us about FDR, and again, to some extent, added to the subject. This is your program. That's the freedom we have when we have a station like this. So if you will call 713-526-5738. Now hit option 2 and let Jack take your pledge, or go ahead and go to kpft.org, kpft.org. And when you go to kpft.org, you just select donate, and Politics Done Right has a program you're donating for. That way, even if you have to give after the program, it'll show that you're donating for Politics Done Right when you couldn't have gotten through on our hitting the number 1. But there are a lot of ways to continue supporting us, folks. We need your support. We cannot do without your support. We need your support. Again, other options: breakfast, coffee with Egberto, $250 contribution. And believe me, I've done several of these, and we have fun. I guarantee you, we have fun. The chatter is great. The communication is great because we sit down. I've learned from talking to many of you. You have learned from talking to me. It's a bi-directional thing, not like cable news or something like that. So please, folks, please give us a call, 713-526-5738. We understand that the line 1 isn't working, so just hit number 2, and we can write down your contribution in the studio and then put it into the system. So again,
Go ahead,
that
Susan.
is go ahead.
Egberto, I
Yes.
just tried the pledge line. It's working.
Okay.
So it could
The
be,
ple-
I don't know exactly what happened. There is a nuance with this. When you push 1 on your phone, hold it down for like half a second. Get that tone to go boop. Sometimes when you push it too quickly, it does not connect. And I talked to the folks at the call center about that. It's just the way the phone system works, evidently. Kind of strange, but it's one of those little nuances we have to watch out for. So Debbie, you can try it again and just hold that 1 down a little bit longer and see if it doesn't connect. 713-526-5738. The money comes from the people to power KPFT. It doesn't come from anywhere else by and large. Over 95% of the funding we need comes from these fund drives. And when we have these, zones of inactivity, call them, it's not a healthy thing for us. So again, get us off the schneid for the day and help us to grow KPFT. If you cannot connect using 713-526-5738, option 1, push a 2. If you can't do any of that, kpft.org and a click of the donate button will get you where you need to go to make that donation to KPFT, to show your support for commercial-free, volunteered power, listener-supported radio in Houston. Egberto.
Yeah, so folks, I mean, you can't, let me tell you, I give this spiel all of the times, and for those of you who have heard it before, forgive me, okay? But this is one of the best investments you can make right here. And the reason why is, 1, you get agency in this radio station. You are a part of it. You can talk to it. You can change it. You get agency. Number 2, it's just the right thing to do because, again, there are so many volunteers here, and the fact that you're listening means that you like what we are doing. So it actually makes sense. So I want to ask so kindly again, as I go off the air to Democracy Now!, to please call 713-526-5738, extension 1 to donate. If it doesn't work, go to extension 2 and give the donation manually, or go to kpft.org, hit the donate button, select Politics Done Right as a program you're supporting, even now, even after we shut down the program, because it'll still get credited appropriately. I'm going to jump to the studio before I come back and close out. Studio.
Okay. Studio is busy right now, so you go right ahead and close out. We'll get to Democracy Now! In just a moment.
Thank you. My name is Egberto Willies. I want to thank all the listeners, all the callers, all the donors. I want to thank Sandy for what he does. Howard, Jack, love you all. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right, and you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
And he is out. We now join Democracy Now! In progress on KPFT Houston.
Correspondent for the occupied Palestinian territories based in